Are you looking to potentially move in the near future, whether you've done it once or multiple times or never? It can be a pretty stressful situation, but never fear, we've got you covered. With this video, we're going to go over all of the steps to make it super pain-free and easy, and we're going to help you with a lot of it, so stick around.
What is going on? I'm Andrew, and this is
AJ.
And we're realtors here on the Emerald Coast. We want to thank all of our returning viewers for watching us. If you are coming back for a second or third or 50th time, if you are brand new to our channel and you get any value out of this, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ding that little bell so that you'll be notified every single time we do a new video.
So now the content that you guys are here for, right? We've got the 5 top things that you guys are going to want to do whenever you're considering moving to our area.
Plus a bonus.
Plus a bonus. The first thing that you guys are going to want to do is obviously give us a call. So editors, could you please put all of our information up on the screen for everybody? You can use any of those methods to reach out to us. You can use email, call, text. Some folks Facebook message us. It's super fun, actually. We love hearing from you guys. So first thing you're going to want to do is get in touch with us, and we will set you up with a buyer's consultation. Now, whether you have purchased before or never purchased before and you're a first-time home buyer, we really like to set up these consultations so we can go over the process. It's going to be different every time you do it, whether you've worked with a different realtor in our area or if you've worked, or not worked with an agent before or sold and moved from a different area. It's always going to be a little bit different. So we really like to go over our processes so that you know what to expect every step of the way.
The buyer's consult generally only takes anywhere from about 45 minutes to an hour and 15, depending on how many questions you have. And basically all we're doing is going over, first off, what you want and in detail, right? Because we could do it over the phone and do hey, I want a 3-bed, 2-bath in Navarre or on 30A or what have you. And that's great, but we really like to narrow it down to make sure that we're getting all of the little details you like. Do you like carpet? Do you want hardwood? Do you like granite countertops? You don't want this type of material, whatever it happens to be. We're really going to narrow that down to make sure that we know exactly what you're looking for, because, well, first off, we need to be able to find it on the MLS for you, but also we've got a lot of off-market properties and we've got a lot of relationships with other real estate agents that also have off-market properties. So if we know down to a T exactly what you're looking for, then it's going to be a lot easier for us to find it for you.
We also really like to take this opportunity to get to know you guys, because if you're not from our area, you might think that you know the different areas really well and you know which one you're going to like. Maybe you've seen some pictures or you've watched some of our video tours. But when we get to know you, we get to feel your personality out and ask you the questions like, what do you like to do? What do you like to be close to? What do you like to be far away from? What are the big impacts of location, essentially, and what kind of personality of location are you looking at? And we kind of play matchmaker, if you will, for our clients and the location, and also all the way down to the neighborhoods. So we really like to take this time to, of course, fill you with all kinds of knowledge, but also fill you out to help match you to a location that you're really going to enjoy and not regret later.
And it's not as glamorous or fun as the other 2 topics we just mentioned, but another thing we go over in the buyer consult is the entire process from start to finish. Very similar to what AJ said earlier, that it's always a little bit different. This could be your 20th home, and it could be completely different than any other place or area that you've purchased in. So we want to make sure that we're all on the same page, and we're going to go over each individual step in, a little bit of detail, nothing too much. We don't want to bore you and put you to sleep, but we do want to make sure that you understand the process of what's going on, exactly how much money you might need to bring, if any, where you're going to be going, what the process is going to look like, who's going to be involved, and things like that. So that's kind of one of the big things that we go over.
And of course, once we're under contract with the property, we'll be going over everything step by step with you. So you won't need to remember everything right off the bat that we're telling you about right up front, but it'll be good to kind of keep in, the back of your mind so that whenever we're going through the process, you're like, oh yeah, this isn't a surprise. I do remember AJ or Andrew, said that this would happen or this might happen. So, okay, we're at this step, and we'll give you a few steps ahead too, so that you know what to expect as we go along as well.
Now that we've got all of the information that we need from the buyer's consult, and you've got some information on what the process is going to look like, now we move on to step 2. And step 2 is to find a lender.
This is something else that we can help you with as well. Being that we do a lot of transactions, we've worked with a lot of lenders. I hate to say know who to not recommend and know who to recommend. I don't like to throw any kind of negative in there towards anybody, but we'll definitely let you know if we think that maybe you would have a better option or a better chance of winning in a multiple bidding war if you went with a different lender, because it does matter. When we get into the season where we're looking at multiple offers on a single property, who you have as a lender absolutely matters. I actually just had one on my listing I guess it was earlier this week. Holy cow, it's already Thursday. I had one and the two offers were similar in just about every single capacity. I think one might have netted the seller $1,500 more, and they actually went with the other option because they preferred that lender. They happened to be in lending and they're like, no, we're going to go with the other offer. We'll make $1,500 less. So believe me when I say who you choose to use for financing matters in our area.
And that's not that uncommon all in all, and that's why generally we suggest somebody local. Now, not always, but we are going to try to pair you with a lender that is going to match your needs specifically. So a lot of lenders, they're salespeople, just like anything else. They can charge some extra fees. They can, the rates vary, things like that. So one of the big things that whenever somebody is looking for a lender, all they're looking at is the rate, which is one of the reasons why we generally suggest to go local. Now, not always, but we generally do because, we know these people. So it gives us a big advantage there. And secondly, it gives us an office to knock down the door on if they're not doing what they need to do. Now, you can definitely go online and get your pre-approval through one of these bigger banks. But here, in my experience, is generally that they're going to be charging you things that you're not necessarily seeing or you're not understanding. So the rate might look really good, but maybe you don't understand that they're having you buy that down or they're charging extra fees so they can make that rate look a little bit lower for you so that you choose them.
Now, that might not sound like a huge deal breaker for someone with, some extra cash lying around. But if you're one of our first-time home buyers and you don't have that kind of cash sitting in a bank, or even if you do, you probably don't want this to happen. And then all of a sudden you find out that your closing costs are thousands of dollars more than what you anticipated because your lender didn't, tell you, hey, there are going to be these fees to buy down this rate. And either now you don't qualify because you can't come up with those funds, or you don't qualify because without coming up for those funds, you can no longer qualify with the rate that they're going to charge you and what that new mortgage payment is going to be, or you just can't move on because a lot of these lenders, they'll say they can finance something that they can't. Most notoriously condos in our area, unfortunately.
And that is another reason why the buyer consult is so important, because once we narrow down exactly what you're looking for, we can pair you with that proper lender that might be a condo expert, might be an Airbnb or an investment expert or first-time home buyer, VA, etc. The list goes on and on.
Now, step 3 is probably one of the most fun parts is we start setting up your home searches. So this is going to be done online, whether you're here locally or if you're moving from another area. We're going to set you up with some automatic search alerts, and this is going to be tailored to you specifically. So when we're asking you, how many bedrooms do you need? What is your max price point? We need to be speaking in deal breakers, because I don't want to only send you 3-bedroom properties if you actually would have considered a 2-bedroom if it was beautiful. I don't want you to get mad at me later. So we want to always speak in deal breakers. If you say your price point is $400,000 max, and then you see something at $415,000, you're like, why didn't you send this to me? It's because you told me 400 was your max, and I'm not going to send you something that you don't want. So keep that in mind whenever we're asking you these questions. And we try to do a good job at communicating effectively to say deal breaker items. Obviously, we're going to send you anything on the lower ends. If you say you want a 3-bedroom, we're not going to say no to 5-bedroom. We're just going to leave that part open. And if you say you want 400,000 or lower, we're not going to put a bottom cap on that by any means. So we're not trying to make you spend more or end up with less. We're going to go with whatever it is that you tell us.
And if you're one of the folks that are coming down here to do your buyer's consultation in person and you're ready to home shop that weekend while you're down visiting, then we will go to our conference room. We will go through that MLS together with all of those parameters and have you choose about 3 to 5 of those properties, and then we're going to go out and see them. I know you might want to see 20 or 30, but in our experience, we want to narrow that down. If we need to go out a second time, we will most definitely do that.
There are a couple of reasons why we do this. If you're just in town for the weekend, you're thinking, oh, well, I have to see as much as I can all right now. I'm going to make a decision this weekend. Look, if you don't like it from the pictures, or in your mind, you're like, I just want to see this one to knock it off the list. It's already off the list. Okay. You only want to look at properties that you're like, I have an emotional attachment to this. And if someone else buys it tomorrow, I'm going to feel some kind of way about it. Those are the properties that we go and look at, because otherwise you're going to get exhausted. You're going to forget what you liked and didn't like about specific properties, especially if we end up in a sort of bidding war situation where we put in an offer on one property and we don't get it, then you're going to be racking your brain trying to think, well, what was the next option? And did I like it enough to actually put in an offer? So we really like to see more than one and 5 max, because you really need to feel something for these.
Now, for those of you guys that are watching this thinking, well, I'm probably a year out from wanting to start any of this process, that's perfectly fine. We can definitely hold off on the buyer consult portion, but I do definitely suggest that you guys reach out to us to get you started on some of those searches. This way you can start really narrowing down what the prices are going to look like, so that when you are ready, you'll know exactly if something is overpriced. You won't have to rely on us fully, although we're definitely going to give you that advice as well when we do see that. But you'll be able to look right at it and go, that seems expensive for a 3-2 condo in this complex, right? Well, yeah, absolutely, because you've already been looking at the properties.
And not just that, a lot of times when folks are moving to our area, they're not 100% sure on a location. And no matter what we think, given your personality, you want to see it for yourself, right? So we set you up with some searches across multiple areas so that you're seeing what you can get in each area. So you cross-reference that with the areas that we're recommending. It just makes for a much smoother process. And the sooner we start, the better it is for you. The more knowledgeable you are, the more information you have, the more comfort you feel. You don't feel rushed, And as we're going along, if you're like, what, I really don't like this specific area, let's just take that one off of our search criteria. And we do that. And we can send you search results, once a month, once a week, once a day, as soon as it hits the market. So you set the cadence really with these.
And speaking of not being 100% sure on where you want to go, that leads us into step 4. This is where we would either do a city tour, neighborhood tour, or of course, if you're already ready to go, then we're going to actually start showing homes.
Now, when we talk about tours, we're not going to be able to drive you around. That's not something that our insurance is going to allow us to actually do. We're realtors, not chauffeurs, so it's a little bit different. If something were to happen to you while you were in our vehicles, I don't know how insurance would work with that. So it's not something that we try to do. Plus, we like you to be able to go and stop, take breaks, hit the restroom, whatever it is, get some lunch so that you're on your itinerary and not necessarily, having to deal with ours and whatever else we might have going on. So what we like to do is kind of say, hey, check out this area. If you've been getting search results, then you've seen a couple neighborhoods that you like. Whatever houses that you like the most, we recommend that you just go drive by those houses. It's twofold. You get to see the neighborhood and you get to see the house. You might decide, I don't know what I was thinking when I thought I loved this house, once you see it, in person, even from the outside. So it's kind of multi-purpose, and it's something that we can help you figure out which areas to kind of check out. So keep that in mind whenever we're talking about city tours.
And that leads us into step 5, which is after we find the house, we put in an offer. We'll walk you through all of that. There's several different ways we'll do that. We'll talk to you about that in real time, in person, or of course virtually if that's how you're shopping. And then sit back, relax, and let us take care of everything else. So absolutely everything else in the process. If you allow us to, you always have the option to choose any of the people that you want to. But if you allow us to, we're going to choose a home inspector we think is best for that property. We're going to choose the insurance that is best for that property. We're going to walk you through every little step of the way and coordinate everything. Really, all we need you guys to do is work with your lender if you are using a loan to purchase a property, and make sure that you're getting them all the information they need. And of course, if we need anything or if any of the other parties need anything, but other than that, we'll take care of it.
If you somehow have vendors out in this area that you like working with, maybe you have a title company that you've worked with in the past and you really like the way they do business, or an inspector, survey team, whatever it is, we'll ask you right at the beginning, who do you like to use for these things? And if you don't have somebody, are you good with our recommendation? We'll go ahead and send you quotes for each of these as well to make sure that you know who you're going to be working with and you know what you're going to be charged. You're never going to be like, oh, I have a bill that you weren't anticipating. Okay, there are absolutely some charges that come during the contract period, not just at closing, and you will be informed and apprised of all of this as we go. Nothing will be a surprise.
And because a lot of the people that are moving to our area are moving from out of the area, a lot of times you guys have a home to sell. So that leads us to our bonus tip. If you do have a home to sell, we can absolutely help you interview and find a rockstar listing specialist in your area if for any reason you don't want to use the same realtor you used before, or you don't have somebody in mind.
We have a wide network of agents that we work with all the time when it comes to referring out people to help sell other properties in other areas or even to purchase in other areas, people that we trust and we've done mutual business with. So absolutely give us the opportunity to help you find someone that's going to work as hard for you as we would.
This is especially important if you are needing to sell that property before buying the next property and you're trying to pair them as close together as possible, because then they already know us and they're going to work with us a lot easier when we need information from them, because that is definitely a thing that we need when we're doing that sort of transaction.
If you're still with us, then you must have found something about our video beneficial. So please go ahead and click that thumbs up so that other folks know that it's a good video, and we'll see you at the next one. Bye, y'all.